Poito, we fucking back!
Okay, stop. Mark,
I was away on vacaciones in Puerto Rico. I was home.
vacaciones.
That's vacation in Puerto
Rico.
So for 7 days, we haven't done any. We haven't posted. It was just vacation for the holidays in Puerto Rico in Rincon.
While I was stuck in cold ass New York, freezing my balls off, going fucking ice skating in Bryant Park. Fuck you.
So
my ankles, my knees, and my back still hurt from Monday going ice skating. Okay, I'm all fucked up. I'm getting old. Okay.
So Pollo here is gonna tell me what I missed in the last 7 days.
What did he miss? We had a Monster Hunter showcase, a little like pre-launch interview type thing where they had but basically what they were talking about were some of the changes that are being made for the launch of the game, which include, you know, the changes to Insect Glaive, Sword and Shield, Switch Axe, Lance.
Received the video with
what's up, my boy? I love this guy, Pollo. I'm so happy you put me on to him.
Community feedback that they received during the open beta period.
Shields up, Iron Breakers. I'm so I love this guy, bro.
Implementing some of that feedback in the final version of the game.
He's Portuguese.
No way. No, he's not.
Yeah, he's from Portugal.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I didn't know he was. That's still like a Latin country. I mean, the Portuguese still fucking thing us, but you know.
You're welcome. Ooh. That's great. Yeah. Okay, I am ready for. I'm sorry, I cut out myself. Hello.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just saying, he's Portuguese. That's so cool.
Yeah, he's Portuguese. His accent could absolutely fool you.
Oh, completely.
In English, you hear him and it just sounds American. You know what I mean? Like you just don't hear. He don't even sound like. It's just weird.
No, yeah, I never.
He lives in
Portugal too. He lives in Portugal too. Shields up, Iron Breakers. I just like him. I'm just glad that you put me onto him. He seems like he's a good dude. So, like, what are some of the big changes? Let's see. So, performance-wise, it looks like they're going to do a 30-60 split on the 4K.
Prioritized frame rate is the one that we're going to be using, so we get 60 frames.
Yeah.
Which is good to know that we're going to get 60 frames.
Yeah.
It does suck that it'll be down to 1080p, but this is we expect that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the game is.
I could technically afford
2 months
a
away.
PlayStation 5 Pro. I could technically afford a PlayStation 5 Pro. Am I going to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro, Mark? Absolutely not.
I don't think it's worth it, but that's just.
I don't think it's worth it either.
I think that's
but
my.
2 months after the game drops, they're going to enhance it for PS5 Pro, meaning it's probably going to run near 4K at 60 frames and look fantastic.
That's
the problem.
What's this?
Yeah.
Shit? Why are they? Is that the Xbox thing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you could push for. I mean, you could push.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Varies depending on hardware. Look at the bottom for Steam.
Course.
Very depending on hardware.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
That's interesting.
They can't.
I'm just.
Okay, you're going too far ahead, sir. Well, I don't know.
This is just the same thing he's talking about. Just the performance stuff that's gonna happen. Yeah, nothing crazy.
But you know, we are going to be getting AMD FSR upscaling as opposed to just checkerboard rendering, which is what we had during.
I don't know what any of that means.
AMD is killing it.
I need to figure out the.
And that should make things look a little bit better. Then they showed us this video.
They did a whole Quema fucking thing? What was... Oh my god. He's kind of big and chunky.
That's not what they're showing. You just keep pausing this shit.
My bad. I just it's like I'm looking at you. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Okay, fuck off.
All right, all right. I definitely saw hit stop there. His
Yeah,
face.
yeah, yeah. They
I
implemented
definitely
it
saw it
as
there,
well.
and that's fucking awesome. That when he got hit, when he got fucking cocotazoed, his face moved. ¿Me entiende? Watch. Watch.
Hit
Hit
stop.
stop. Toma. So I mean, in this version of the game, they've already implemented the hit stop, and they're showcasing like how it looks and it works. Not that I ever like thought I really needed that shit, Boito, but it's
Apparently,
nice that it's there.
apparently, if we get another open beta, it will not have any of those changes.
I didn't know
If
that.
we
I
get
didn't
another
know that
open beta,
was.
it's not going to have any of the changes. They're saving that for launch.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a build issue. Like how vast, like how much power it requires. Not power, but how much it requires to implement. You know what I mean? Because if they're not gonna put it in the most recent build, that means that it like required a lot of like restructuring to put it back in. And I'll be honest with you, the fact
when
that
you carve out a snippet and then try to add to a snippet, you run into problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why they like.
Also, Quematrice is a chunky boy.
Yeah.
He's a big Brew Wyvern. I didn't think it was that big. All right, there we go.
Where you can see what the performance mode looks like running on PlayStation 5. Now, I would have very much enjoyed having a higher bitrate version of the video because it does look a little bit blurry. I believe that this is greatly due to YouTube's processing and all of that stuff. But we also see some really good improvements, in my opinion, to the depth of field and all of that stuff. It is also one of the most ideal conditions for that particular video because it is full daytime. We got the Chematrice, which is a very colorful multi.
Is that what we're not pronouncing it like that, right?
It's Chematrice.
It's not Quematrice.
It's Gamma.
Okay.
Chematrice.
But
Whatever.
we see like reasonably good performance, in my opinion, much better performance than what we had on the open beta on PlayStation 5. So, in my opinion,
The fact that he's Portuguese is so fucking me up. His English is fantastic.
this is a bit of an upgrade, and this was one of the things that a lot of the journalists were reporting, those that got to go to Osaka to play a different version of the game. So basically, frame rate is likely going to see some significant improvements. Now, on top of that, they also talked about how on the Xbox Series S, you're going to be getting 1080p resolution at 30 FPS. That's pretty much what most of us expected. But they then also address that in Steam, it's kind of like harder to predict how the game is going to run because naturally PCs are going to have a wide diversity of hardware. But one of the things that they are looking into is potentially even lowering the minimum and required spec.
Did he double Wyvern shot?
One of the things that they are looking
He could do that.
PCs are going to have a wide diversity of hardware. But
one
of the things that they are looking into
is the second one comes out
how's
quicker too, and it has a long ass range now.
Yeah. But where the fuck is the gauge for that?
These are going to have a.
He has 2 shots. I see it in the corner.
Yeah.
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
Why does he have 2 shots?
Wide.
They gave it 2 shots.
Oh my god!
But one of the things that they are looking into is
you have to reload. You don't even have to reload it. You just can shoot. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, because you get 2 shots. You can do
what the fuck is that? Yo, they're eating.
Bring the minimum
they
and
ate crazy, bro.
That are currently listed for Monster Hunter Wilds, which means that
do you get like a fucking like a stance cooldown or anything? Like what's the shit? What's the issue here?
Listed
for Monster you gotta reload it.
You just have to reload, but that doesn't mean that you have to like at that moment.
I believe they're on a cooldown.
Yeah, I'm saying stance wise, like what's the drawback from hitting it twice? There has to be something because there's no way I can just fucking pop that shit twice and then
the animation commitment.
Is there an animation commitment after the animation commitment? I'm not worried for because that's look at his range already. He's like what 10 meters away from the monster. More or less, 5 to 10 meters away.
Range now, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not worried about that stance commitment for that because that's just timing. But
potentially,
I'm worried about what the duration looks like after. Do I have like a slower stance to get to where I'm supposed. Like, am I still in a stance after shooting the last wyvern shot that takes a second to then get me back to regular, or is it just pop both of them and then all I have to do is reload?
Even lowering the minimum.
Both of them.
Not that I want to play like Gunlance or anything, but
and
just saying.
You can pop both of them. They're separate from the fucking shells.
No, he was ready to go right after.
And required specs that
he was ready to go right after. Yeah, he blocked.
Monster Hunter Wilds, which means that to me that tells me they're a little bit more.
Yeah, he could have done
anything
about the
performance. Now I've mentioned
that's not okay. That's not okay. That is not okay. That's
that
really,
is okay.
It's not okay. That's just too good, bro. That's not okay.
How long do you think does it take to pop both shots off and then do another action?
It used to take a while. Didn't it auto force you to reload after too?
No.
Okay.
I could be completely.
I don't know, bro. I don't play Gunlance. I don't play that weird shit.
Wrong.
I play a man's weapon,
weird once you know
like
it.
a fucking hunting horn.
You can come out and it might not run all that.
Nah.
In early game, once you
my
hit
recommendation is that you guys should wait.
It's not worth it anymore.
I don't want to listen to that, and I'm sure that he says some good stuff about it, but so I need to get to this. So gameplay changes, adjustment of hit stop sound effects, adjusting attacks to feel more weighty and impactful with the focus on big moves and finishers.
The TCS is gonna have that crazy hit stop.
Yeah, the cha. I mean, that was my only critique on that. Was it didn't feel like
this next point is something I have a problem with.
Mitigation of friendly fire. Friendly fire had already been mitigated for most weapon types in the open beta test. The full version will also include further mitigation of friendly fire for upswing hammer. Oh, that means they're not gonna pop us in the air.
Nope, and I'm actually upset about that.
Players will also be able to use shockproof jewel to nullify damage restrictions. Maybe it's just the,
shockproof jewel.
Yeah, maybe it's just the thing of like.
It's a good thing. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah, maybe it's just like a thing of like there's too much going on, and they saw that hammers were popping people up too much in the air, or long swords were
but that's
tripping
people were doing it on purpose to get mounts, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but
you could have did it to a dual blades player, and they would fucking spin down the monster's back. Like there was shit like that. You know,
I get it, but there's also more variety in terrain. So there's all like the variety in terrain will allow you to be able to.
You get jumping attacks.
And I didn't say that was an issue. I did
think
even
that jump off the safe frame. So
I did think, I don't know if this is necessarily a bad thing. I don't want to have.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing because now your hunter still gets knocked down. They don't get popped up into the air. You still get knocked back. You just don't get popped up into the air now. Play the video because he showed the video of it. Hello.
Like of hit stop, I talked about this in the previous video. How one of the reasons why they lower the hit stop is because apparently a lot of players in the West actually complained about Monster Hunter World being a little bit too meaty and the combat was a little bit too heavy with the hit stop that it had, and therefore they did changes for Monster Hunter Wilds. So Yuya Takuda was actually very happy when he received the feedback from the open beta. They're like, actually, we want hit stop. What do you mean? So here's a video of that.
Oh.
Right here.
Ah! Yes!
So perfect.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
So perfect.
And as you can see, that is actually significantly meatier than what we had in the open beta. And it is not just for Greatsword, which is what is shown in that video. It is pretty much across the board for all weapons, but that is the one that they chose to show. Now, another thing that is actually a point that I'm not a big fan of, but they are reducing the effect of friendly fire. But the interesting thing is, I almost feel like a lot of the players that, oh, we don't want friendly fire, it's almost like monkey paw, curls. Because what ended up happening is, even though they removed the possibility of players being launched by hammer, which was actually in a way had a bit of a positive effect if you wanted to do like aerial attacks, and you could actually coordinate with other players to do things like that. And now you just get knocked down. Here's the video of what that looks like.
This is World of Warcraft,
Oh,
but
come
there's
on,
no
bro.
classes because there's archetypes instead.
Oh my
An
god,
archetype
bro.
is a
I'm so
fusion
fucking
of two
tired
or
of
more.
hearing this fucking... Oh, Tomaso, Diablo. Toma. All right. Yeah, I just think that this is not... I'm not going to bitch about this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bitch about.
I'm
it
not
either,
about bitch
'cause,
about
like,
this because
even though
I
we can
also...
get popped up into the air, we still have so many other ways we
Ways
can
to
do
get
it. We
there.
can jump off the sacred. I can call my sacred, jump on my sacred, and still do the weapon attack jumping off, which has higher chance of getting him out.
And also,
So it does not matter. It really doesn't matter to me.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be truthful with you. I'm gonna leave the flying to the people that could fly. I'm not gonna bitch about like...
Yeah, because Insect Glaive got fixed.
Insect Glaive got its wings back. I don't know if they're gonna bring the Metsu for fucking Sword and Shield, so they can just pop up every fucking 2 seconds.
Yeah,
But
I don't
whatever.
know. Oh.
I'm not mad about this. Yeah, I'm not. To be honest with you, like this, like if you're not ready for it, this could fuck you up. And it has hammer players.
It's still gonna serve the same purpose of you're still gonna get tripped, right? You're still gonna get knocked off your feet. Just you're not gonna be like thrown up into the air anymore.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm okay.
But once you put on the shockproof jewel, you're good. So it just nullifies that shit completely, and you have no problem. But like whatever, you know.
It's not. I could understand why they might take it out because it is another way for you to get popped into the air, and I think that if you're trying to nullify a positioning thing or make positioning more of impactful for your environment, then that's why they would take it out. Like if you want your environment to...
Nah, they were like, people complain so much about the fact that they get tripped up. So we're just gonna like mitigate that and just make it so like it doesn't matter where you are, you have a way to just not get knocked up into the air and knocked up off your feet.
You know what that tells?
How I feel about that is like, yeah, making the game easier because now if I'm standing next to a longsworder, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like if I stand next to a great sworder who does the upswing, doesn't matter. Like it. Whatever.
No, I also think
like,
that the monsters I think the monsters are harder though. Like the monsters move and have some wicked attacks.
Was surprising. Dashiguma was surprisingly harder than he lets on.
Yeah, so not really upset about that.
Personally,
yeah.
Now my thing is, if they took it out, if they took out weapon mitigate, like if it took out friendly fire completely, then I would be like, oh, it doesn't really make the fun. Yeah, it doesn't really make the,
it's still there.
It's not. Yeah,
if you use a
like cold and like taking out cold and hot drinks seems like a fucking like a. But that's like the Monster Hunter. I don't want to say elite. I want to say like the Monster Hunter player in me that like you're taking away core functions of what makes it a hunting simulator.
It's like, hey, there's still friendly fire, except now there's no benefit to friendly fire.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the change. I much preferred it when you actually launched other players because sometimes you would get a mount and it would be an interesting thing. I know that there's a portion of the community that is not a big fan of friendly fire, and I respect your opinion if that's the way that you feel. Me personally, I prefer having full-on friendly fire. I'm not a big fan.
Maybe have it turn it on and off. I don't know. Maybe add it as a jewel. I don't know.
I mean,
adjustment of frequency of monster area movement. So people were complaining about this.
Remember when I said that the monsters were moving area like way too often? Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah, but that was a beta issue. They corrected it. This was a correction.
And it
come
and
off
it
from the
wasn't-
fucking
yeah,
beta.
right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't intentional. Like that aspect, the weather changing as often as it did that wasn't.
Yeah, that's okay. I think that was totally not a problem. Adjusting so that monsters move between different areas at a similar frequency to Monster Hunter World. Okay.
Yeah, so they
How
won't just
long
get
did they?
there, fight for 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden just dip.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like at least a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Players will
Like it
also
should
be
be.
able to use pop-up camps and fast travel in full version. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. He's just talking about it. Insect Glaive. Look at this panel, Poito. Oh my God, so much
Play
information.
the video.
Hold on, we're gonna read it. Adding vaulting dance to strengthen aerial action. Okay, players can combo into a variety of aerial actions after vaulting. Aerial attack power increased by 2 levels. Oh my God, what the fuck? Can you just like call them directly and be like, guys, listen, this shit is not working. This is the answer. Fix it. And they just go, okay, cool, guys, and hang up the phone because this is crazy.
There was a poll. 2, there was people on the community managers do their jobs. The community managers actually do their jobs. And
Adding an offset effect.
The developers be like, oh, this is what people want. We'll make it happen.
Orange extract effect now also negates knockback while weapon is drawn. Red, white, orange extract effects now also mitigates wind pressure, tremors, and roars. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. So now that means
They gave them everything. This is for all of you Insect Glaive players, congratulations.
Eaten.
Loco Minal.
Ton of buffs.
The hell?
So we already knew that we're going to be getting vaulting dance back. That is the bounce, the helicopter bounce that everybody loves. You're going to be able to combo into a variety of aerial actions after vaulting, and your aerial attack.
I want to say one thing before we continue on. I do like the fact that they are flying again. I'm going to be honest. It feels a little safer when you have a mounting specialist and like a melee weapon user that can play atop of what you're doing. It gives eyes in the sky. I don't personally like that type of gameplay, but I've always felt better playing with an Insect Glaive user because it just makes the hunt that much more of a spectacle.
You know what's the crazy thing? If you use Insect Glaive, like with a proper build, the proper like end game insect rather than like a fucking no fucking speed type of insect, yo, it gets to be such a fantastic weapon. It's not even funny.
And I like the fact that this weapon works the way it does now because in the areas at which you're using the weapon, it's vast. The terrain is going to be much different. We're going to be in tighter spaces, larger spaces. So the way at which you're going to be aerial Insect Glaive, you're going to have to be moving and really learning your environment very well. So I think this is very good.
Sometimes we'll be dealing with multiple monsters.
Power is going to increase by 2 levels each time you vault. On top of it, you are going to get an offset attack for the charged circle attack or charged B attack, depending on which controller you were playing on, which was a really welcome addition to the Insect Glaive. So you're getting bounce back, you're getting an offset attack, and on top of it, they also changed a couple more things about the extract. So it says here now, orange extract effect now also negates knockback while weapon is drawn. Red plus white plus orange extract effect also mitigates wind pressure, tremors, and roars. Now, I don't know how much it mitigates. Is it like level 1, level 2, level 3? But you're even getting a certain level of earplugs back, basically, because you're going to be mitigating roars, which is really, really nice for all the Insect Glaive mains out there. This is a major buff to the weapon. However, not everything is sunshine and roses, because if you guys remember, one of my biggest points of contention about the Insect Glaive from the open beta was the fact that I felt the control scheme on regular controllers is hella finicky.
Okay, first off, hella finicky is wild, but was it that bad?
Yeah, you have to hold circle while still having to move your camera and attack with triangle. So imagine how awkward that feels on the control when you have like, this is the crazy thing, when you have to use the claw method in order to play the weapon.
Understood.
You can't use it as an option. No, you have to use claw method to play with the weapon on controller. But yeah.
Or just get bumpers.
Not the best thing.
There was a video for the Insect Glaive, so I'm going to be showing that now.
Okay, when does he pop? He pops here.
You let it play.
Brother, he never touches the ground!
That's offset.
Next up, we have the Lance, and Lance is pretty much just like W's in chat for Lance. Lance is getting buffed all around.
Is
and
it?
Just looking...
Bro, all the weapons everybody fucking complained about. Yo, all the weapons everybody
better.
complained
so we have
about.
Your charge counter now allows for guarding while charging and can be chained into from any other move. So you can
charge
just
counter now guarding while charging.
This just means that you just
Power guard. You now charge to higher levels more quickly when used to successfully defend against more powerful attacks. Perfect guard and power guard can now be chained into a new move.
Hold down circle whenever you feel like doing a charge counter, and you just hold that down, and basically you are guarding while you're doing that, and then you can just like release it to do counterattacks and that stuff. Then you also have Power Guard now charges against higher levels more quickly when used to successfully will charge to higher levels more quickly when used to successfully defend against more powerful monster attacks. So the harder the hit that you block with power attack, the harder your counter is going to be, which is really, really cool. That also mentions that Perfect Guard and Power Guard.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
The harder the hit you get, the more damage you put out, brother.
Now be chained
Oh my god!
Into a new move, which is something that I'm very curious to see. I'm not sure if that was the move that was shown in the video. It might be, which is kind of like a lunging thrust type of thing. But here's the video for you guys to check it out.
Double tap. What movement?
Yeah, if you thought the last goes in your face already.
And from
even more so now.
Very tanky, Meguta.
Yeah, so block that, return to hit. Block that, return to hit.
Yeah.
Block that big shit, return to hit.
So Switchy got some updates too. Every weapon that everybody complained about. Wow. Various adjustments made so that switching to sword mode after building the axe mode gauge feels more satisfying.
I don't know what that means, but sure.
Yeah. Improvements made to various moves, including full release slash. Knockback is now negated when using full release slash. I don't know what full release slash
charges
is.
faster, what the deal is. And then they also say that parameter improvements to various moves, including full release slash, which is an interesting thing because I thought that full release slash feels really, really good to use. Like for the few times that I've used Switch Axe in the open beta, I have seen some people complaining about it. So obviously this thing is getting buffed. But on top of it, this one's a little bit more contentious to me, which is knockback is now negated when using full release slash. And I know the community is a little bit divided on this one because basically what that means is you can now do full release slash, and when you start charging it, you can hyper armor through attacks. And I'm just like,
whoa.
Not sure how I feel about that. Should we just be giving hyper armor to all of the big hitting moves of every weapon? Because the longsword has the same thing, right? Whenever
Hey, don't
Continue. Calm down.
Don't start questioning shit about the fucking longsword. It's perfect.
It's not about questioning.
Don't question it.
You're doing the final hit of the big longsword combo.
Stop. Because then they're gonna look at it and then they're gonna be like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't give it fucking armor, and I'm gonna be fucking mad.
Do that, go through attacks and stuff.
I don't care, Pollo. Don't touch my shit. I don't complain about your shit. Don't touch my shit. That's it.
It's not about complaining, okay?
And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not even saying, oh, you should remove it at 100%. I'm just genuinely conflicted because, like, I mean,
I love you, dude.
My ability is called instant death to any target.
Bro, you're not
something.
understanding what he's talking about.
What is he saying? What do you why not?
The longsword has a similar property with one of its big moves, where it negates the knockback. Meanwhile, back in the day, doing those big moves did not have anything like that. So it was used in a way that was like, okay, I have the opening, I'm gonna use this move. Now it's more like fuck a opening, I could just hyper armor right through it. That's what he's talking about. So he's saying that the switch axe now has something similar with the full release slash to what was just given to the longsword. So it's something that there's a similarity, and he's saying that he doesn't know how he feels about it, because he feels like when you have these big moves and you can just hyper armor through almost anything, what's the point of using those types of moves when you have the opening, which is how it used to be.
Good point.
Understand?
You guys let me know what you think about it. Here's what the video of that looks like.
Oh, he got fucking smacked.
Why can't you just let things play?
That's a counter. What the fuck? He has that? Oh.
Yep.
Oh, it's a counter. Okay. That's the counter? Oh, brother.
Yeah, that's
Next up, we have Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield's video was looking real good. They're talking about how Rising Slash can now be used while guarding.
Oh. S&S.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's funny you don't play that weapon anymore.
It's funny because I haven't played the weapon in a minute, but guess what? I'm not starting with it.
You're not gonna go back? No problem.
I'm not starting with it.
That's okay.
I'm starting Charge Blade.
Rising Slash can now be used while guarding. Yo.
Yup.
Parameter improvements to various attacks, especially normal attacks and perfect rush. Okay, cool. I don't just that's just like fine tuning. Improve the responsiveness.
That's
yeah.
Like, giving you a tiny bit more damage than it was doing to make it better.
That's just just variation. Not variation, it's just fine tuning, yeah. Improve the responsiveness of mobile chop and slide slash combo, as well as guard slash and perfect rush. Cool. Improved invasion effectiveness of backstep and sliding swipe. Okay, that's just all of this just seems like fine tuning.
It's something that it needed because it felt a little bit choppy. You know what I mean? It felt a little bit stiff, a little bit. So they were like they bumped up a little bit of the damage across the board because it just was lacking a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. This is some shit you don't have to worry about because you're not the field general anymore. Now you're Paladin Pollo. So.
Oh no, it is something I have to worry about.
Why?
I'm still gonna play the weapon.
All right,
I think this is one of the moves that you couldn't do.
I'm running Sword and Shield with Charge Blade.
I see. No, okay, fucking guy.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm running Sword. I'm running Charge Blade and probably both.
I see nothing here about Metsu, and
me neither.
That makes me sad.
During the open beta, I'm assuming that this means that you do Rising Slash from neutral, and then you do an input to go into Sliding Slash. We also have parameter improvements to various attacks, especially normal attacks and Perfect Rush. The video.
Let's see the video.
Give me 1 second.
Finally, there were a couple.
That looked pretty cool. But I'm not sure if I am all struck about that. So huh?
Put it like this: for that weapon, it's more
Do you-
so of like
Do you see the stuff that they're talking about? Because I only see the
it
slides
looks
stuff.
more. So if
It
you
looks more
notice,
fluid.
right,
It looks more fluid.
it doesn't have as many like pauses between things anymore.
Mm-hmm. So
It feels more responsive, like it says. Like that's something that I can see that because of what I felt during the beta.
okay. If you feel like that's something that as someone who actively plays the weapon or did actively play the weapon and it's an improvement overall, that's what's up. I'm here for that. It just seems like fine tuning, and that's cool to see. Okay, other weapons. So the bow, rebalancing the bow with increased attack power and responsiveness of moves such as a normal attacks and arc shot, while toning down the power of tracer shots. When targeting a monster with a focus strike, multiple wounds are now locked onto one by one with a brief delay in between, rather than all at
So
once.
remember how in beta it would just lock onto all the wounds immediately, and then you just fire and hit all of them at the same time?
Yeah.
Now it does it one by one, and it takes a bit of time. Yeah. So it's good to not like hog up all the wounds,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. General wide-ranging adjustments to skills and elemental values. That's just balancing and tuning.
The bow works, and what this means is the
That's cool, though. Coño, man. Commercials.
Empire.
Otra fucking commercial.
Rated
Wow.
M to AL.
Together, we will.
Why do you not just let things fucking play?
So this is just going to be... All right, it's one. Oh, no. You got to hold on. Oh.
You see how slow it is now?
Yeah,
So now you
yeah.
don't just hog up all the
Finally,
fucking
there's
thing. It's
also mentioned here in the slide. They didn't really talk too much about this, but they talk about wide-ranging adjustments to skill and elemental values to balance for full game content, including endgame, which I think is a good idea, particularly when it comes to elemental values, because elemental always ends up being somewhat disappointing. And even in the interview that I did with the developers, I was not like the biggest fan of their response. Like, oh, we're looking at what we want to make sure that elemental is properly balanced, but we don't want to force you to use elemental, which I get it. I'm just very scared if we're going to go into another game where, okay, the meta is you just stack raw damage, and that's the only thing that matters. I'm hoping that things are going to feel a little bit differently, and they might because of some of the things that we're going to be talking about a little bit further ahead here. They also talk about how there's overall adjustments to hit detection and low damage output compared to past Monster Hunter titles. My interpretation here is that potentially some weapons that they felt were underperforming in other games, they're going to be bringing those up to snuff. So that is the idea there.
What weapon
During
would
this
be
particular segment was also mentioned that the hunting horn feels a little bit too powerful.
Ah! Yes. Shit, I love to hear, bro. The hunting horn is too powerful
When it is used as a offhand weapon, kind of offhand weapon, support weapon, whatever you want to call it. But basically, the developers felt that a lot of players would be very much incentivized to always bring hunting horn as kind of like their secondary weapon.
Yeah.
Because of the buffs that it was doing to the whole party. It's not even for the individual buffs for the player, but the buffs that it does for the whole party.
That's
it
the
was
point.
just way too powerful. So what they're doing is they're buffing how much it affects the hunting horn user, and they're lowering the power of those buffs like attack up L and all of that stuff. They're lowering how much those affect the rest of the party. So it's still very good for your party, but it's not going to be as powerful as it was in the open beta. So a little bit of a nerf to the support capabilities of the hunting horn. I think that
I know you're mad about
overall
that. But it
No,
makes sense
it's
then
not.
people
It's
would
not.
abuse the fuck out of that.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's still good that you have a hunting horn, but it's more about what it's gonna do for you. And I've always said that, like, it's a benefit for you first, and then an added effect for everyone else. So you still get a damage negation, you'll still get attack up, you'll still get sonic whatever other things they might implement later on. But I can see why he's saying
if you switch off to another weapon, you lose the effectiveness of how long the skill lasts.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
Because that means, oh, you want to be a hunting horner, then be a hunting horner.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
that's kind of it incentivizes you to actually use the weapon more.
Yeah, and that's fine. You should.
And
not
just buff it as a glorified fucking buff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I did see more people just doing that. They'll lay their echo bubble. They'll do all their buffs, and then you have to kind of like
switch.
Yeah, you have to kind of like play the weapon around to be like the offset attack is fantastic. The weapon is fast moving when self improvement is active.
Yeah, but
yeah,
it doesn't have the feel of how other weapons are, where it's like
it might end up being a good idea because we've already seen a lot of people, concern themselves over using it as a pocket.
It got none of that. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about? Offset and the movement speed up. What are you talking about?
It's great. But it doesn't.
I personally still think that is way too much maintenance to carry around a hunting horn, do all of the music, and then put the hunting horn away, swap to your main weapon. I think that that's too much of a hassle. But I can see some more degenerate hunters resorting to that type of playstyle, and the developers are trying to.
No, you get good by using your horn. Use your fucking horn. Get good at using it, and then switch off to whatever of your main weapon is.
People use it to just buff everybody.
You could get really good at putting KO damage and then switch it. I'm telling you, bro. I'm still gonna run the longsword hunting horn shit, and I just feel like in my head it's gonna work well. And I'm gonna tell you why, because even with what he's saying about them limiting how much of an effect it has on other players, I still think the buffs.
No, it's not limiting how much of an effect it has on other players. It limits how much it has effect on you.
It's adding more to myself. He said yeah, that's what he said.
When you switch off to another weapon from the hunting horn, your buff timers get shortened for you. Not for your team.
Bring hunting horn is kind of like their secondary. During this particular segment was also mentioned that the hunting horn feels a little bit too powerful when it is used as a offhand weapon, support weapon, whatever you want to call it. But basically, the developers felt that a lot of players would be very much incentivized to always bring hunting horn as kind of like their secondary weapon because of the buffs that it was doing to the whole party. It's not even for the individual buffs for the player, but the buffs that it does for the whole party, it was just way too powerful. So what they're doing is they're buffing how much
Nobody complained about this.
Yes,
why did you change it?
Hunting horn user, and they're lowering the power of those buffs like attack up L and all of that stuff. They're lowering how much those affect the rest of the party. So it's still very
how much it affects the rest of the party, not the timer for yourself.
Good for your party, but it's not going to be as powerful as it was in the open beta, so a little bit of a nerf to the support capabilities of the hunting horn. I think that overall that might end up being a good idea because we've already seen a lot of people, concern themselves over using it as a pocket horn. I personally still think that is way too much maintenance to carry around a hunting horn, do all of
that was just it. It wasn't anything about the timer bullshit.
But,
I don't know what the fuck you're
basically,
talking about.
I still think that if you want to play the hunting horn, you definitely should because the hunting horn is a fantastic weapon, and I think it's still going to be a fantastic weapon to bring with you on your...
Motherfucker. Coñazo.
Next up, they talked about the new skill system changes in weapons.
Oh, yeah.
And they showed us a weapon that basically starts out only having speed sharpening and then eventually goes down to having speed sharpening and critical eye as you go deeper into the tree. And one of the things that we notice is that critical eye only has 5 levels in this game. And one of the things that it got me thinking is I feel like you definitely are going to have access to less offensive skills this time around, because the fact that all of those offensive skills are going to be present in weapons where.
All right, tell me how this is a bad thing, or if it's a good thing. I'm not too sure. I don't see why 5.
I don't know how much of a good thing it's really gonna be.
Yeah, I'm not sure that 5 slots is a bad thing.
Let him continue.
Armors are going to have more generic skills. We already talked about that. They confirmed that again. But I really think that this is going to be an interesting thing, because you're probably not going to be able to have, let me get maximum attack up, maximum critical boost, maximum weakness exploit, maximum critical eye. I don't think you're going to be able to do that this time around. And that is one of the things that I'm the most excited for. I want to see players actually figure out, I need to figure out which skills I'm going to be using, because I'm not going to be able to get all of the usual suspects that everybody always wants. So that will definitely be an interesting thing to see. It could also turn out to be one of those monkey paw curl situations where I'm going to be like, I can't get artillery in my gun lance. But that will be an interesting problem to tackle when the actual game comes out. I'm super excited for the fact that there's likely going to be less offensive skills all around. I've talked about this at length in the past.
Less offensive skills overall.
Think about how overloaded our armor sets have become with skills that do everything. And a lot of them are damage skills.
Especially in fucking Rise, dude. Holy fuck. Especially in Rise. A Rise is just too much, and you love it. I just don't know.
I love it and I hate it because it's the augment system. And augmenting to get more slots or new perks. It's like, that shit's annoying.
Okay. Thank you, Rurikhan. This was fucking awesome video. A lot of good changes that I missed.